Nice to be here, and thank you for just spending a few minutes to listen to what I've got to suggest to you. So I've been asked to talk to you about visiting a school. You've got the opportunity today to speak to representatives of lots of very good schools all over the UK, and they've all got good things to say. And there's some good schools there, and you've got a difficult choices to make. So I think choosing the right school is very, very important. All schools are the same in some ways, but they're all different as well. Each school should have its own personality. It's a bit like choosing a house to live. You know, sometimes you can look at all the details and you'll see how many rooms they've got and what the garden is like if you're living in a house, or what the view is like if you're living in an apartment, or all of these things, or where the nearest shops or the nearest school is. But there's something emotional about choosing where you want to live, and I think the same thing is true for choosing a school as well. And I think one of the things that's true about all of the schools, or certainly most of the schools that you're able to see today, is that they offer very personal experiences. And I think that's an important part of the whole education that we provide, that it is quite personal to you and your child and your family. And the opportunity to get that personal feel and the atmosphere of a school, you can only really get that by visiting, if it's at all possible. But of course, distance and time makes visiting very difficult. But if it is possible to do that, I think you should certainly try to do so. And you'll find some very obvious things about location. A lot of families always want to know, how far is it from Heathrow Airport? That's always a question that I'm asked, because my school is quite a distance from Heathrow. It takes about 3.5 hours to get from Heathrow to my school, West Buckland, which is in the southwest of England. But I can tell you, and I tell lots of other people, that it's worth it. It's a 3.5 hour journey. You're not making it every day, but it's worth it because you're going to find yourself in a rural, beautiful part of the countryside, which is great for lots of people, but it's not great for everybody. Some people just can't bear the idea of not being in the middle of a city. Well, you'll find out by visiting the school. I don't know what you might expect if you were to ask to visit a school in Kiev, but in my school and in all of the schools here today, they will expect to show you a great deal and to give you every opportunity to see as much as you want to of lessons, of the facilities, of the boarding houses, to meet key members of staff. It's a very important decision for you, and we would expect to give you a lot of time to enable you to make that right decision. So you'll be able to meet pupils and teachers, boarding house parents, and I would be surprised if you couldn't meet the head teacher as well. I would certainly expect to see all visiting parents, and especially those who have travelled a long way to come and see me. I'm sure before you make a visit, you're going to want to do your homework and do some research on the school, and schools provide huge amounts of information on websites and in other media, and that's obviously very helpful. You'll make much better use of your time if you've done your homework, but also it can be really useful to the school either to bring with you or to send in advance copies of school reports and any information about what your son or daughter is interested in, so we can actually show you things that are going to be particularly significant for you. So if you're interested in sport or music or drama or physics or mathematics or languages, yeah, let's find that out in advance, and then we can make the best use of your time when you visit. And we're proud of our schools. I'm very proud of mine, and I know my colleagues in other places are as well. We like showing the school off, so don't be afraid to spend time and to ask questions and say, can I see something else? Some of the most important people to meet are actually the boarding house parents, and to really find about boarding, because they're the people who are going to really be spending a lot of time with your boys and girls. They're the people who do the caring. They're the ones who look after the children in the evenings and the weekends, who are there. They can never do the job of parents themselves, the real parents, but they're the next best thing in the school. So I personally, if I was visiting, I'd really want to meet the people who are going to be in the front line looking after your son or daughter. I take very seriously the trust that parents place in the school. We have young people from China, from Russia, from Germany and France and Colombia and Australia. They trust the school to look after their children. And that's a real responsibility, and the boarding house parents are absolutely crucial in that. And I think it's really nice for the admissions team, the administrators, the people who are sending the emails or on the phone, dealing with all the practical, important, not always very exciting, but absolutely vital details. That my admissions team really enjoy meeting the parents and meeting the children. Otherwise, it's quite a, an arid job. But having that personal connection with the person that you're going to be in email contact with, that's a nice thing to do. And most of all, meet the children, meet the pupils at the school. They're the ones who will really tell you the story about what it's like to be a pupil and live in the school and be a part of that community. And they'll tell you the way it really is. I can prepare them. I can say, well, you need to show them this or talk about that or something else. They'll just tell you the way it is. So make sure that you really do spend time with them and interrogate them. There are obviously a few technical things that you do need to understand. The UK education system is quite different, and in some areas it's really very different indeed, especially at the older ages. In this, what we call the sixth form, 16 to 18-year-olds, the curriculum, you'll have a choice of two main models: the A-level system, which is what most schools offer and is certainly universally recognised in UK universities, highly regarded. And there's the IB, the International Baccalaureate, which is also absolutely widely recognised and respected, but they're very different. And so not all schools offer IB, not all schools offer A-level, some schools offer both. So that's one of the big areas for you to explore. All schools offer, well, I think all schools offer support to international students with language learning, but they all do it in different ways. So the provision for English as a second language is an important area to discuss, I think. Apart from the question, how long does it take to get from Heathrow Airport to my school, the other question that I'm always asked, usually within about 30 seconds, is how does the school stop teenage boys in particular, but children generally, in spending all their time on a computer? Of course, working, not really, but on playing games or on social media or what have you. So find out about policies relating to that, because that makes a big difference to a lot of things. And these things are changing all the time, but obviously, when our children, their families live a long way from home, we want to have easy communications, and using Skype and social media and email, that's made life so much easier compared with 10 or 20 years ago. It's just fantastic. So again, all schools will have different arrangements for academic tutoring and the range of extracurricular activities that they offer. Again, most of the schools, not all of the schools here, will have a huge amount of sports and music and drama. This is one of the, I think, the most important differences between the UK schools and schools in most other countries, whether it's in Ukraine or Russia or Germany or France or Spain. The story is very much the same. The UK tradition is obviously academic work is vital, and it's central to what we do, and we want the children to really want to learn and to enjoy it and to feel that they're ambitious to move on to the next stage. But we don't think that's the important thing, the only important thing. We believe that these extracurricular activities are not just a little add-on. They are absolutely crucial to young people's enjoyment of school, in their personal development, in their development as young people and young adults, and it helps with their academic work as well. And so I sometimes have to speak very firmly to parents who say to their children, no, you shouldn't do sport, you shouldn't do music, you should stop playing the violin or stop playing basketball because you should be spending all your time on your academic work. I say, no, it doesn't work like that. Those young people who are most successful tend to be those who are actually actively involved in all of these other things as well, because they're interesting, lively-minded people who are enjoying being at school, and that enjoyment is crucial to what we're doing. It's not all about exam results. Important though they are. And what happens at weekends? Some schools have Saturday morning lessons, which I personally think is barbaric and should be banned under human rights legislation, but my school doesn't. But our weekends can be busy. We run a bus into the local town so they can go shopping and spend their parents' money. There's lots of sports. We go to cinemas and theatres. Every Sunday we have activities. They could go surfing, horse riding. We go off to big towns and cities occasionally. Might go ice skating, might go do all sorts of different things. Find out what's going on at weekends, because that will be different in every school. And transport arrangements at the beginning and ends of terms and at half terms, again, makes a big difference, especially if you are living if we are at a distance from an airport. My school, for example, runs a shuttle bus from Heathrow to the school, and it works very easily, and so you've got the confidence as parents that your children are going to be safe and well looked after, and that makes a big difference, I think. And some schools, especially those that have Saturday lessons, may have what they call an exeat weekend, where the school essentially closes and all the boarders have got to leave for a weekend. My school doesn't have that, and I think it's only some schools who do, but it's worth finding that out because you need to have arrangements in place. So there's all sorts of questions, and I'm just going through some of them here. Policies on the use of ICT, social media, yes. What nationalities are there within the boarding house? There are two questions really there. There's the boarding community, and then there's the whole school community, and that's a very different answer in most schools. For my school, for example, 85% of all the children are British, local UK native English speakers. But within the boarding community of about 90 to 100 children, the majority are international students. So make sure you ask the right question, otherwise you might not get the right answer. And there are so many things you can answer, but I think one of the core threads in all of this is what's the relationship going to be between you as parents and the school and the house parents, the boarding house staff. That's the crucial relationship. They're the people that you're going to ring up. They're the people you're going to email. They're the ones who are going to be able to give you the information and the reassurance and deal with any problems that may arise. And when things go wrong, as things do go wrong in any child's life, and adolescence can be a turbulent period, who do they go to if they're unhappy? House parents, yes. Tutors, housemasters. A lot of schools will have a chaplain or a school counsellor or an independent listener or just anybody. Just make sure that you're going to be in a school where these sorts of issues are taken seriously and that the children know that they can go to somebody and a choice of people for help. And after a visit, most schools are probably going to get in touch with you just to say, hope that you enjoyed the visit and that you're interested in pursuing your interest in the school. Some schools may ask for assessment information. I personally think that young people do far too many exams in every country. They certainly do in the UK, and I don't like adding to the number of exams that we ask children to take. I can usually feel that I can get a lot of very good information through the agency, if they're a good professional agency, which I'm sure Business Link is, and also from school reports and from meeting a child, from talking to a child on Skype if we haven't been able to meet face to face, and finding out whether we're going to be the right school for the child. Not is that child good enough for my school? That's a back to front question. Are we going to be the right school? And then occasionally there might be some additional assessments that are required. If they want to do A-level maths, for example, or they want to do one or two particular types of course, we might want to know a bit more about their prior experience and the level of performance. But I don't subscribe to the idea that there's got to be a whole new series of entrance exams for my school. I think that's unnecessary and not actually very helpful. But each school will have its own approach. I think there are some parents, dare I say it, who think that if a school doesn't set lots of exams, it's not a serious school. I think that's just wrong. I think that's absolutely wrong. I think there are just much more thoughtful and actually more useful ways of actually finding out about a school. But you might be somebody who thinks that exams are a jolly good thing. I think they are a good thing in their place, but they're not the only way to find out about a child. That's a judgment you can make. And schools are often very important in helping with the practical matters like visas and some of the administrative matters and travel arrangements. And when you're visiting, where do I stay? We're fortunate. We've got a lovely farmhouse bed and breakfast place just over the school, and they do very good business out of us, and I would recommend them. So find out about things like that. It can make life a whole lot easier. Okay. Well, I hope that's been helpful to you anyway. Okay, nice to speak to you, and enjoy the rest of your visit, and maybe I'll speak to some of you later. Okay.